Konnichiwa, I'm John Hornick. Welcome to my Japanese Faves series where we'll cover every major type of Japanese food. This lesson is Japanese eggplant with miso sauce. This is my variation on the eggplant disks with miso sauce recipe from the great Japanese cookbook called The Japanese Kitchen by Hiroko Shimbo. I use different misos in a different proportion of mirin to sake, and I use brown sugar instead of white. Japanese eggplant is smaller, creamier, and tastier than its large supermarket variety Western cousins, which makes it a great small plate. So let's start cooking. Okay, let's make our Japanese eggplant with miso sauce. We're going to start with about 2 tablespoons of red miso, and it's not an exact measurement. It's probably a fairly generous 2 tablespoons. 1 tablespoon of white miso. 3 tablespoons of sake, 3 tablespoons of mirin, 1 tablespoon of brown sugar. Now, I want to get what I have on the little spatula here off. I don't like to waste anything. And then we're going to mix that up, okay? And once we start to get it a little bit mixed, I'm going to put on medium heat. Okay, now we're going to add the heat. All right, now I'm going to continue to stir this up until it's well mixed. It helps to press the miso against the side of the pot to help mix it. Breaks up the lumps. Okay, now that's pretty well mixed. Now would be a good time to preheat your oven to 375 degrees. We're going to continue to stir this and just bring it to a boil. We're not going to let it boil. We're just going to bring it to a boil, which means we're just going to start to see boiling bubbles. Then we're going to reduce the heat, that is, to low and let it simmer for about 3 to 5 minutes. And we're going to be stirring it almost constantly because we don't want it to boil and we don't want it to burn. All right, we're just starting to get some bubbles. So we're going to reduce the heat to low and let it simmer, stirring pretty much constantly for about 2 or 3 minutes. All right, we've been simmering for about, I'd say 3 minutes. We're going to add 1 teaspoon of sesame oil, stir that in. We're going to turn off the heat at this point. And then we're just going to keep this warm until we are ready to use it. Okay, now we're going to take our Japanese eggplant and we are going to cut it into discs. First, I'm just going to cut off the top. This is rather large for a Japanese eggplant, but I know it's a Japanese eggplant because I grew it myself and it grew a lot larger than they have in the past. We're going to cut these into about 1 inch discs. All right, now we're going to do a checkerboard score. Now, when I say a score, that means we're only cutting about 1/8 to 1/4 of an inch deep, and we're going to cut scores that are about 3/8 to 1 inch, 3/8 to 1/2 inch wide, and we're going to do that on each piece. Okay, now we're going to prick the bottoms of each one of these pieces with a fork. Why are we doing that? So that the olive oil that we're about to toss them in can get in there, and also so that heat can get up in. The camera cut out there for a moment. I was saying that we're pricking the bottoms of these pieces so we can get the heat up in there and the olive oil up in there. All right, the next thing we want to do is toss these pieces in olive oil. How much olive oil? Enough to coat them, okay? So we're going to rub the oil around on them a little bit and try to get a coating on the top and the bottom. All right, next we're going to brush the bottoms of these pieces with a little bit of the sauce. All right, now we're going to put these onto a baking sheet with the bottom side down. I've got that extra piece at the end here. I'm just going to do that one too. And now why did we brush the bottoms? Just to give them a little bit of extra flavor, help to get the flavor up inside. Okay. Why didn't we brush the tops? I want the tops to be kind of natural after they bake. Okay, now we're going to take our eggplant pieces on our baking sheet and put these into the oven at 375 degrees, and we're going to bake them until they are soft and golden. Okay, here are our baked eggplants. They look nice and golden, and they are very soft, and if you poke in there, they're very creamy. Okay, now what we're going to do is plate them up. All right, so we're just going to plate one here because this is a small plate, and we're going to garnish with some of the miso sauce on top. And some chopped shiso leaf. If you don't have shiso leaf, use arugula. Shiso leaf is kind of peppery, and so is arugula. And then garnish with a few toasted sesame seeds. And there we have it. That is Japanese eggplant with miso sauce. You can see photos of the final dish at my Instagram, which is @ChefsApprentice, Cook Like a Pro. Please remember to subscribe to my channel, and thanks for watching.